G'day. Today we're going to talk about the environmental impacts plan in relation to the problem in week 7. So quickly going over our background summary. A couple of points we're going over is moving toward sustainable practices, developing sustainability orientated goals, integrating our strategy and policy to align with these stated goals, effectively measuring the achievement and progress of these stated goals, and timely review and expansion of said goals.
So to begin with, we wanted to start with a definition of sustainability, and we're using the WCED definition, also known as the Brundtland Report definition. So this states that sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So the Brundtland Report is essentially a holistic report. It's future focused and directs the majority of goals toward the future. It focuses on things like renewable resources, the future investments, and there's a focus on infrastructure being grown and directed toward exceeding basic human needs. And there's an overarching theme of reducing social inequality. So one good way of directing your sustainable development toward the future is to look to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or the Global Goals for Sustainable Development. So there's 17 goals here, and if we look at them all together as a group, it's a pretty holistic view of how an organization, an individual, or society in general can direct their future investments and growth towards being more sustainable.
Tourism is increasingly becoming a part of the global economy and culture, but the focus of sustainability has nevertheless been mainly on destinations and tourism practices in those areas. A concept of sustainability within tourism is carrying capacity. It is defined as the maximum number of people who can use a site without any unacceptable alteration in the physical environment and without any unacceptable decline in the quality of the experience gained by the tourists. Donald Getz, 1983, defined 6 subtypes of carrying capacity, which is physical, economic, perceptual, social, ecological, and political. Calculation of the maximum amount of tourists has failed, as the capacity is not related only to a certain resource or the number of tourists at a destination. This refers to the scale of tourism activity that can occur in a spatial unit without doing any serious harm to the natural, economic, and socio-cultural elements of destination.
Okay, so the dimensions of sustainable tourism. LIPA's 1979 model of the tourism system describes the tourism industry, which consists of its human industry and spatial elements which interact with other surrounding macro environments. Although not specifically discussed or mentioned in these broad environments, it also includes physical, socio-cultural, and economic environments. The value chain concept describes how value is made as the product is bought from the supplier to the consumer. The tourism value chain creates value as the consumer and tourists are taken through the supply chain to the product and then the destination. The notion of value should not only be weighed by the contribution of the individual consumer, but also the environmental integrity, social equity, and the economic prosperity.
So here we have our comparison from our readings, and just a quick look over, you can see that 3 of our readings have a holistic view while 1 has a narrow view. The main aspect brought out of these comparisons were they were mainly on future aspects and looking towards long term, and some also included present, but majority focused on the future. Thanks for listening.